What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley, and that's the one, the only. It is Scott Savage. Scott, what's going on, buddy?
I spent a little too late being up last night. That Switch is just too comfortable to play with.
So let me ask you this. So you're playing it in bed, I'm guessing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you laying down playing too, or are you sitting up against your headboard kind of thing and playing?
I'm trying to sit up, but you end up laying vertical, and then my hands go numb because I'm holding it up.
It's like above you, right? Yeah, no, I ain't doing that. I can't do that at all. I'm sitting up, and then, when it's bedtime, I am out, head hits the pillow, good night, I'll see you tomorrow.
That's what I need.
Dude, well, before we get random conversations over here at ITG. Dude, let's get into today's show. People can join us live at 11 a.m. Eastern, back to our standard time. Over here, you can join us on youtube.com/c/inside the game official. You can also join us right now over on kick.com/inside the game. But if you can't join us live, it is up later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Today's show, Scott, is what's next for Horizon, as Guerrilla Games is teasing Aloy's next adventure. But Guerrilla Games isn't done yet, as they're working on their Decima engine to upgrade that for the future of more Horizon content as well. And EA's asking fans not to spoil Jedi Survivor, story plots, and more, because why would you do that?
No, leakers at it again.
Oh, man. For 15 minutes of fame, and then to never hear from them again, right? So we'll get into that discussion. But Scott, I'm still a little under the weather, so I've gonna pass the reins over to you, my friend.
You sound a little bit more like Howard Stern today. I like it. But we're going to start off with one of your favorite topics I have good guesses on. This is Guerrilla Games teases Aloy's next adventure in new studio statement. And this comes from Game Informer, Wesley LeBlanc. Just a few days away from the launch of Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC, Guerrilla Games had teased more adventures with Aloy. This news comes from a statement released by the studio to announce that studio director and executive producer Angie Smets is leaving Guerrilla to serve as the head of development strategy for PlayStation Studios. It's a move similar to the one that the team's former managing director, Herman Hulst, made in 2019, transitioning from that director position to head of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios. Within that statement, Guerrilla teases what could be Horizon 3, or at least a third game in Aloy's world, as reported by PlayStation Lifestyle. Quote, "We have full confidence in our new leadership as they steer Guerrilla towards a bright future, expanding the world of Horizon with Aloy's next adventure and our exciting online project," the statement reads. As you can see, Guerrilla isn't trying to hide it. The studio has plans for another adventure with Aloy. And while rumors and speculation point to the, quote, exciting online project being some kind of multiplayer game within the Horizon world, this statement made sure to separate Aloy's next adventure and that online project. In terms of the studio's new makeup, the management team now consists of studio and production director, Joel Escher, studio director and general manager, Hella Schmidt, and studio and art director, Jan Bart Van Beek. Technical director, Mikael van der Lee, will be focusing on future technology and strategy for the Decima engine. So there is a lot in there, but I want to roll it back just to separate one thing here. This multiplayer project.
Yep. So
do you have any understanding on that one? That's got to be something I look forward to.
No, absolutely. If we can get into a Horizon multiplayer side of things, that opens up the opportunity here to get into what we've heard rumors going around right now of a Monster Hunter-esque Horizon game, right? Like, think about that. You and your crew heading out to take down machines together. That could be one heck of an experience. So many opportunities, I think, that they're starting to build off of Horizon. Now, we've seen Horizon kind of struggle. And the reason why we've seen Horizon struggle is because when they put it out, you put it out at the same time you're putting out some massive titles. And that's a problem for Horizon, right? As good as Horizon is, and beloved by fans, PlayStation fans, obviously, it is just missing that one little bit of, being out on its own having the freedom to kind of take over the industry, take over the fans, so that they have, say, like 3 solid weeks to a month of just Horizon instead of getting Breath of the Wild, or instead of getting Elden Ring, right? Like, you know what I mean? Here, we're gonna put out our game, and then Elden Ring's next week. Like, well,
what other earth-shattering third-person action RPG is going to come out alongside this third Aloy adventure?
And that's kind of been their curse when they launched Horizon, right? Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West. We're getting now Burning Shores, the latest DLC, which I'm wrapping up right now. Dude, which I saw a spoiler for this morning, and we're going to talking about spoilers and how irritating it is to get into spoiler territory. But yo, I was searching around for a couple articles today. We're in VGC. Andy Robinson, I'm calling you out right now. Dude, you spoiled part of the Burning Shores, right? And it's just like crap. Normally, they're really good, especially VGC. VGC is a fantastic website. We often use them as reference, as you'll see in our shows all the time. But they kind of give us a heads up. There's spoilers. It was something small and something I kind of predicted coming, right? But I haven't been there yet. Dude, the DLC has only been out for a week as of today. Like, the last thing you want to see is that get spoiled for you. But either way.
Yeah. Well, it seems a week after release now is a long time in terms of spoils.
Man, I don't know. It's funny because I don't want to spoil stuff from like 4 years ago. It's just when we get into spoiler territory, right? I try to stay away from it as much as possible. But getting back into Aloy's next adventure, Scott. Go ahead.
I cannot wait for a multiplayer type of idea. I'm still spinning with that because the universe that's in Horizon is just so ripe for that kind of an expression.
Oh man, like so when you're already going out looking to craft your material, because I spent a lot of that just in Burning Shores going out. I got my legend gear, but yet I'm only level 1 or 2, right? Well, now let's go hunt down some machines for these parts that I need to then craft my stuff to upgrade it so I can get to that next tier. All your gear, all your armor sets, like everything all falls into place on this. It makes absolute total sense to bring over a Monster Hunter experience. Dude, Horizon's world is absolutely gorgeous. Burning Shores is fantastic. Forbidden West was beautiful. And it's just awe-dropping to go out and see some of these settings. If you can bring your friends with you to do this, man, like we've been playing Wild Hearts. And granted, we've been so wrapped up over the show lately, just getting ready for other reviews, that you and I have fallen off a little bit, right? Like we just can't, man, we got like 4 reviews on the go this week. So what do you do? So it's just one of those things, like something's got to give. Here, I'm in Burning Shores, and man, like there isn't a moment that goes by and I'm just like, wow, look at this. Like, wow, look at this. Wow, look at this. And then, so I started going out hunting. Now, getting into Aloy's next adventure, right? Guerrilla is not done. If you finished, and there's no spoilers here, right? If you wrapped up 2, you know where they left it, and they left it wide open for part 3, right? That's just like Burning Shores takes over right after Forbidden West. And that's the biggest thing right there. Because they said when you play the DLC, you need to have finished the main campaign. Well, you finish the campaign because you roll right into Burning Shores DLC, which then will lead us to the next game in 5 years, PS6. Right?
Yeah. Now, you have not reached the end of that, so we're not exactly certain how it's going to set up the third game, right? But
no,
this universe, this massive kind of undertaking that we've seen in the first 2 games could easily become an IP that lasts decades.
Well, absolutely, right? There's a lot of potential with the main character herself, Aloy, if we get into where you want to branch off there, but you can also get into side stories too. At this point, when you're starting to see PlayStation branch out and bring in like The Last of Us HBO and comic books and things like that, Horizon is an opportunity right here to do the same thing and then craft this world. They're expanding across transmedia like all the time right now because they're capitalizing and bringing in another audience that they never had before. And with The Last of Us being so successful, Scott, I can see that going on here. So not only is Aloy's journey continuing on via games, but I can see us getting into the comic books. I can see us getting into maybe a movie or a TV adaptation, right?
A companion show to go along with the multiplayer and updates that come along with the show. That's an amazing opportunity here.
So now that I'm wrapping up Burning Shores, I'm like, okay, if we get The Last of Us multiplayer, if we get Horizon multiplayer, these can carry us until the next game is ready. Providing it's done properly. How many games of service, Scott, have we seen come out and then just die on it, right? A week later, it's just gone. It just didn't last, right? There's a lot of these games that could keep coming, and they just don't, because they don't have the longevity for content to keep us invested and keep us around. So Kyle posts over in Kick and says, and I just bought the first Horizon on Steam, so don't spoil. Oh, dude, everybody died. I'm so sorry, Kyle. No, just kidding. Go play that.
She like wakes up and rolls over to the Forbidden West. I'm kidding.
It just skips part 1, goes right into part 2. It's there's opportunity, dude. If you're playing 1, go play 1, because it's a big world too. Yo, right now for Burning Shores alone, right? This is the DLC after Forbidden West. I'm 30 hours in.
Just on the DLC.
Just on the DLC. I'm approaching the 30-hour mark right now. Right? And I'm just wrapping it up.
Small undertakings.
No.
I think I spent about 30 in the first game.
Zero Dawn. Yeah. Man, if we can get into multiplayer, then that keeps us going further and further and further, right? But Scott, we could keep talking about this all day. Why don't you get into the next one, because it's kind of still in the same vein.
Yes. Let's touch up on the Guerrilla Games. There is ambitious future plans for the Decima Engine, and this goes further on PSU. Michael Harridan says, Michael van der Leeuw, Guerrilla Games technical director, has revealed that the studio has ambitious plans for the company's Decima Engine in wake of the announcement of a management shakeup at the studio. Speaking in a LinkedIn post, van der Leeuw revealed that he is now working full-time on the engine, which powers blockbuster titles such as Horizon Forbidden West. He added that he would be, quote, focusing my attention to our ambitious future plans for our own Decima engine. As previously reported, Guerrilla Games studio director Angie Smet is leaving the company, and during the same press blurb, it was revealed that there would be more adventures in store for Aloy with the Horizon franchise. That sounds excellent. Of course, they're going to want to further that engine and develop it for the next title. I'm excited in terms of PlayStation.
No, absolutely. Right now, PlayStation's crushing it, man. Like, I'm sorry for Xbox fans, and I am one of them, and I am suffering right there with you. Like, straight up, right? From an Xbox point of view, what are we doing right now? Because PlayStation is just kicking butt and bringing out more and more titles that everybody wants to play and get involved with. And then they bring in this whole transmedia side when you get into the HBO series, The Last of Us, all that kind of stuff. Scott, the Decima engine, I don't know if you knew this, but when Kojima came over for Death Stranding, that's the engine they used. So they actually worked with Guerrilla to get that up and going.
Okay, that was very important. Very used in some very heavy projects then. That's
exactly. So now we're starting to see Guerrilla Games expand on their engine, which is funny because right now a lot of people are transitioning. Like over 50% of the video game industry is working with Unreal Engine 5, just because it is so powerful and it's not something they need to worry about. We just saw Cyberpunk's team, the CD Projekt Red, transition over for their next game going on, and all the Witcher series moving forward will be on Unreal Engine 5. Why? Because their last engine didn't work. Right? It was tough. It was tough to create for. It was tough to actually get up and running and working properly. This allows them to step back, not worry about all the functionalities of that engine not working properly. And if there is a problem, just talk to Epic, right? Allow them to jump in and say, hey, we need some help. This isn't working. Can you help us out? Here we get in with Guerrilla. They're getting the Decima engine up and running, and they're moving it forward. They're keeping their own engine, which is kind of unique, because we're not really seeing that much anymore when it comes to that.
Yeah, there is still Frostbite that I believe DICE uses. So there are some, and I think it's good to have diversity. But does anybody use Source anymore?
I don't think so, right? Right now, the big players are Unity and Unreal Engine 5. And then you get into some of these other teams making their own engine, like we get with Decima.
Proprietary ones.
Yeah, exactly. But the good news is, if you're a part of PlayStation, like I don't know what Insomniac Games uses for their engine. If somebody knew that, please let us know. Is one of those things that could be an interesting side too, right? Are they looking to the next Spider-Man? Now, granted, Spider-Man 2 is probably wrapping up, right? So we'll see what happens when it comes to that. But are they using the Decima engine as well? Like when it comes to PlayStation, you become part of that ecosystem. Now everybody's sharing, right? Jade Raymond came over with Haven Studios. They were creating tech for the cloud. What are they going to implement now moving forward too with the Decima engine and their expansion plans over at Guerrilla? Opportunities here, man, for PlayStation. What they're building up to is absolutely incredible. Super excited.
It is not just console generation that shifts us forward in tech. No. There's a lot of systems working under the hood. Engine's a very big one.
Absolutely. My other question too is, because they're moving forward, are they, and this is the big question for me, as I'm a big fan of PSVR 2, what's that future look like? Are we getting other first party studios going to use this? Is the Decima engine going to get carried over? It was there for Call of the Mountain, but are we going to see a sequel to this, right? There's a lot of questions. A lot of people didn't really care for, dude, I don't even remember his name anymore. Like, that's kind of how, Aloy, right? I think it was Raise or something along that line. I thought it's been a while since I've been in that game. So it's one of those, right? It didn't really strike a chord with. No, it didn't. It really didn't. Everybody's so used to Aloy. When you get introduced to a new character who's not even from the Horizon universe, it's kind of sometimes it either sticks or it doesn't. And this one, I don't think really pulled a lot of people in. But I had a great time. And dude, playing Horizon in VR, I'm telling you, some of these mods, like the machines, when you look up, wow, super cool. The tall neck.
I had goosebumps one time thinking about it. Awesome. Yeah, I think I saw a promotional of something walking alongside you, and I went, oh, that's good.
Yeah, that tall neck is incredible.
I have a lot of excitement for what's coming in Horizon, but I also have a lot of excitement for what's coming in Star Wars.
Yes.
EA has called on players to not spoil Jedi Survivor, as the street date has been broken. Dude, Andy Robinson writes on more.
So frustrating.
Oh, and I had Last was too spoiled for me, and I don't want this one to be spoiled as well.
Yeah.
I have a suspicion they all make it out at the last second, though. But anyways, Andy Robinson goes on. Electronic Arts employees have called on players with early access to Star Wars Jedi Survivor not to share story spoilers ahead of its official release later this week. Kind of a no-brainer there, as has become typical for major releases. Users on social media began reporting they'd acquired physical copies of the sequel early this weekend and shared spoilers from the game. This led to an official response from EA's Star Wars Twitter profile. Quote, "No spoilers," it wrote. Very to the point. Quote, "We're beyond excited for everybody to experience Star Wars Jedi Survivor this week. We ask that you please be mindful of others and avoid posting or sharing spoilers. And remember, BD is watching." End quote. Yeah, this is certainly a dark side maneuver to be spoiling. Pete Stewart, a writer at developer Respawn, shared his own plea. Quote, "Please, friends, don't spoil the game. We all worked very hard to create something that hopefully surprises and delights you all." Quote, "I know a lot of people will be upset to see spoilers before they get to play, and for us, it's really disheartening to see that as well. Be kind, y'all." End quote. Star Wars Jedi Survivor will release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC on Friday, and it is disheartening, to say the least, to have that spoiled just in the 11th hour here.
Well, we're so close, Scott, and what happens is, not only does it take away the excitement from the fans, it also hurts the developers, right? They worked years and years on building this creation for all of us to enjoy. And what happens is some bozo gets it early because they broke street cred and got the game, accessed it, hit the copies, and then posted up stuff that they shouldn't be, right? I'm just like, what are you doing? Why would you want to ruin it for somebody else? People do it all the time. So granted, be mindful, right? Like, dude, The Last of Us Part 2 is a big spoiler. And it's just one we'll never forget.
Worldwide.
Heartbreaking, man. Heartbreaking moments, right?
I think that personally, this is why I stopped watching The Walking Dead. It was spoiled for me, I think, 2 nights before I was going to watch the greatest episode, and it killed the entire suspense for me, and it was awful. And This is Star Wars. I think we all want to see Star Wars do well.
Absolutely. We want to enjoy it, right? We want to be there and get that first time experience and hit those highlight moments where we are wowed. But if that is already taken away, and you're expecting that, it's not quite the same. Like, it was interesting to watch, as we were watching The Last of Us as the example on HBO. I played the game, so I already know what's building, where my wife hadn't. So to watch her kind of interact and react to some of these moments, right? I was just like, wow. So it's so cool to see some of these things.
Let me put it this way. If you knew the ending of Game of Thrones, how much of it would you have watched?
Well, there's the other side of it, I guess, too, right?
No, it takes the wind out of the sails. But
it does.
I'm also looking forward to this game, although it will probably beat me up pretty heavily. Armored Core 6 is set to release in August of 2023. Tom Henderson writes, insider gaming sources have revealed that Armored Core 6 will release in August, specifically on August 25th of this year. The news comes following last week's finding by Gematsu that Armored Core 6 had officially been rated in Korea. The findings prompted relief for fans who had thought the game could have been delayed until 2024, although age ratings are not an indication of whether or not a game will be delayed. It has already been highly speculated that the game will make an appearance at Summer Games Fest on June 8th, but our sources have suggested that the information was obtained in a way to suggest that an announcement could come soon, although not 100% confirmed. Armored Core 6 was first mentioned by From Software President Hidetaka Miyazaki in September of 2016, stating that a new entry in the Armored Core series was in development. After a leak, those leaks, in January of 2022, it was officially revealed at the Game Awards in December of 22. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is in development for the PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, X and S, and Windows operating system. Do you have any experience with Armored Core?
Not really, no. So this might be my first foray into the series, and I know it's beloved, right? It's just one of those things I never got into. I was back in the day, I checked out a couple mech games here or there, but it didn't really kind of connect. So I'm curious to see if this one is enough to pull me in. How excited are you for this one, Scott?
I'm not certain if this one will hit my fancy exactly, because I'm into that Chrome Hounds kind of Earth Siege, if anybody remembers that one, way back in the day. It's very quick kind of Gundam fighting almost.
Right. Yep.
Whereas this is much more methodical, much more of a simulator, although you're simulating walking mechs. But interesting nonetheless. It's From Software, so you're going to expect a little bit of growing pains with it. As in it's going to hurt. It'll probably work day one straight out of the box, but it will punish you.
Are you surprised that they're releasing this already, just coming off of Elden Ring not that long ago?
It is quite quickly, yeah, but I think they run both these series kind of side by side. I'm not exactly sure. They must have had some sort of team working on it over the years. And Armored Core 5, I don't recall when 5 came out. I think Armored Core 4 is one that I had seen, but we're going back to PlayStation 3.
Yeah. So you reviewed Mech Warrior 5 not too long ago. Well, yeah, I say that. It was like 2 years ago now, believe it or not.
Oh, they fly by.
So, yeah, they do, right? So, I don't know. We'll see if this one pulls us in. But it is interesting to see, because the minute they wrapped up Elden Ring, like they already stated like a month or two after that their next game is almost complete. So if we only get this, dude, August isn't that far away. A few months away. And all of a sudden now we get FromSoft's next game. Well, are we going back to Elden Ring 2? Like, are we going to get a sequel to Elden Ring, you think? Or are we on to something new?
So. Well, for everybody on PC, I want to see Bloodborne come to PC and maybe Bloodborne 2. But other than that, Elden Ring 2, that's coming eventually. It has to be.
Yeah,
Armored Core is entirely different for gameplay, though. You're not expecting just to be a mech fighting in the same way as Elden Ring. I just want to put that out because some people will have the wrong idea of it.
No, that's fair. Scott, we do have a couple games out today, actually. What do we have?
We have After Image on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, Switch, and PC. Interestingly enough, that's a local band that I know of. Strayed Lights is also on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, Switch, and PC today.
Nice. Scott, what have you been playing, buddy?
Oh, I was a little bit on some Advanced Wars. That's what's keeping me up on the Switch.
Did you jump in?
So far.
Were you able to jump into Crash Team Rumble? I want to say Racing. That's back in the day.
I did play a little bit. Yeah, I couldn't play against players online, but I played against CPU and had a few games going.
All right. I got in against
Fusion Frenzy.
It was interesting. It was very cool, actually. I enjoyed it quite a lot. We had a good time. It was challenging though, dude. We got rocked. It was funny that you see the scale. You either kicked butt or you got your butt kicked, and that's kind of how that game went. Didn't matter which round you're in. You're either on the opposite scale or you're on the winning scale. It's just like, there's a balancing issue going on here. So we'll see. I kept feeling like I was playing over and over on the same players, but either way, Scott, just like that. That's going to wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live over on Kick and YouTube at Inside the Game. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, everybody, I'm Drew. That's Scott. We'll see you inside the game.